Let's begin our coverage with I-24 News correspondent Pierre Klochendler. Pierre, do we have any idea now that the trucks have crossed into Gaza, where they are, and if and when they are expected to actually reach the hostages who need these medicines?
We have no idea, Jeff. We just know that overnight 5 truckloads of medication for the Palestinian non-involved population and for 45 hostages suffering from chronic ailments has entered the Gaza Strip. We don't know anything more than that. Here, near the cargo terminal of Kerem Shalom in the facing the southern tip of the Gaza Strip, where the truckloads entered the Gaza Strip overnight, there is a demonstrations of Israeli citizens that protest the humanitarian aid which is being given to the Gazan population because they say it's lengthening the war. And you can see here signs saying, we stop humanitarian aid, we return the hostages. This man said earlier in Hebrew that those truckloads are death trucks because they keep the hostages into Gaza. And you have here the kind of symbol that they brought, pita bread, because this is the diet of the hostages according to the testimony of those who were released from captivity in November. The over 100 hostages that were released, but there's still 136 hostages in Gaza. Some of them unfortunately dead, something like 26 people are dead and in captivity. And there is a man here, an Israeli citizen, Yedidia Lerner. He lives in Sderot, or used to live in Sderot. He's been evacuated to the southern city of Yerucham. Why did you come here, Yedidia?
I came here with my wife to protest about us feeding the beast we have in our backyard. We're feeding a people who are biting back the hand that is feeding them. I feel for the women and children in Gaza that are hungry and suffering. But here the story is not about morality or explanations or narrative. We're in the jungle, and the one who's going to be stronger is the one to survive. This is the story we have to understand for ourselves and also explain to our children and our grandchildren. In 50 years from now, these atrocities can come back again. Why? Because our grandchildren wouldn't be able to understand. Why couldn't we just talk about prosperity?
I have a question. Yesterday, medications were transferred to the Gaza Strip in order to give vital medication to some of the hostages that suffer from chronic ailment. And yet, today, after the truckloads were entered Gaza overnight, you're here. Isn't that counterproductive? Actually, there's a deal in the making.
I think the way the deal is made is an error. That's not the right way of making a deal, because Hamas understands only pressure. So I'm not in the position to understand all the circumstances and take into account all the issues. But in general, the fact that we are feeding our enemy is not going to help us in the long term.
Thank you, Yedidia. Thank you very much. So as you see, these are concerned citizens. These are not families of hostages. These are citizens that believe that giving humanitarian aid, and yesterday there were 208 trucks that entered the Gaza Strip as part of the humanitarian assistance to the Gaza Strip that Israel facilitates. They say that's lengthening the war, actually. And this is why they come here protesting and demanding a harsher posture by the Israeli government. Jeff?
Pierre, thank you so much for that report and live interview here at the demonstration. Great to have you at the Kerem Shalom crossing.